Hello, kitty cat. Say hello to the camera. Oh, you want to get down? Okay. Okay, cat wants to go. Oh, fucking tail in the face. Always with the helicopter tail, helicopter tail. What up, you fluffy bastards? My name's Liquid Blitz, and welcome to the third class in my SUPERCLASS series. This one is aptly named the Railgun, because it's super accurate and it's super high damage. The layout of this video is going to be pretty much the same as the previous two superclasses. I'm going to very quickly go through the loadouts on screen, and then I'll switch the background to gameplay because that's more exciting, and while the gameplay is running, I'll go through the strengths of this class, and then more importantly, I'm then going to give you a bunch of tips for making the most out of this class, especially the equipment. I've got some great tips coming up for the equipment that you're not going to want to miss, so stick around for the tips if nothing else. Right, here we go. As with the previous Superclass videos, I'm not going to go into detail about why I chose them. The detail will be in the strength and the tip sections later. But just for now, I'm just going to rattle off which I've chosen for this class. Now, the centerpiece for this class is the M1903 Sniper, the M1903 Sniper. I guess it was made in 1903. But for this, I've chosen the beam reticle. Now, this obviously isn't important. You can choose your own reticle, but I've chosen the beam reticle because my favourite sniper rifle of all time is the Mosin Nagant. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but the Mosin Nagant, and to the best of my useless knowledge, the original ones had that sight, had that reticle, the two lines from the side and the bottom one. So just for sort of nostalgic sake, I've chosen that reticle. Now, this is important for this class. Specifically, it has to be the 10 times zoom. This is the longest range class you can possibly make, so 10 times zoom. Bayonet just for self-defense at close ranges, but that's all I'm going to say about that. Visuals. If you've got it, that bellow wood, because look at that, the engraving and the dark colour of the wood. Lovely. Anyway, I'm wasting time. Pistol is going to be the Frommerstop. And again, I'll explain why later, but just go with it, the Frommerstop. If you've unlocked it, then the C93 might be a better option, for a very similar reason, but I'll get into that in the strength section. Now, equipment slot 1, Tripwire Bomb, the high explosive version. Equipment slot 2, the Sniper Shield. Now, that is vital to this specific superclass. In fact, both of them are. Both of them are vital. It has to be the HE version and the Sniper Shield. And I'll go into more detail about both of those later, including some demonstrations. Grenade, Incendiary Grenade. It was a toss-up between Impact and Incendiary, but I've chosen Incendiary for a reason, which once again, I'll get into later on in the video. And Melee, I always go for Hatchet, as per usual. If you want to know why, go check out my Melee Weapons Explained video. I can't talk today. Anyway, so that's it for the loadout. Now let's move on to some of the strengths of this class. All of the strengths of this class. The first strength is really the most important one, I suppose. The M1903 Sniper has the longest range of all sniper rifles, so quite possibly the longest range of all weapons in the game. Now, I'm going to explain that in detail, but because not many people know what I'm about to tell you. It's a little long-winded, but sort of bear with it because it's important. It's important that you listen to this shit. The way damage range works for sniper rifles is unique compared to all other weapons in the game. Most weapons have maximum damage at 0 meters, and then as you travel further, at a certain distance, the damage starts to drop off. For example, the BAR damage, I've written this down, the BAR damage, BAR like Storm, for example, the damage starts to drop at 11 meters, so everything like close point-blank range within 11 meters does its maximum damage. But from 11 meters, reaching out to 35 meters, the damage drops off and it bottoms out at 35 meters. Now, this is true of almost every gun. They start at max damage and then they fall to the minimum damage over a certain distance. Most guns typically fall to their minimum damage within sort of 30 to 50 meters, usually. But snipers are different. Sniper rifles don't do their maximum damage at 0 meters. Sniper rifles actually do their minimum damage for quite a long distance. Then at a certain range, their damage climbs up to the maximum, which usually lasts for about 40 to 50 meters. And then the damage starts to fall back down to its minimum again. Right, just to help show what I'm talking about, I'm going to put the damage range values on the screen right now so you can see them. These are the values for the M1903 Sniper. And I've written this down because I'm not going to remember this off the top of my head. For all sniper rifles, actually, not just this one, the minimum damage is 80 and the maximum damage is 100. Now, the ranges for the M1903 specifically are, basically, it does its minimum damage, 80 damage, up to 80 meters. And then, from 80 meters to 100, it starts to climb up to its maximum damage of 100. You understand? So it does its minimum damage all the way up to 80 meters, which is a long distance. And then it starts to climb gradually. Its damage reaches maximum damage at 100 meters. And then from 100 to 150 meters, it does its maximum damage. So that's the golden sweet spot, 100 to 150 meters. And then after 150 meters, all the way to 190 meters, the damage drops off again, back to its minimum. So at 190 meters, it's doing its minimum again, 80 damage. So as I said, its maximum damage is between 100 and 150 meters. Now, any closer than that, and any further away than that range, you're doing less damage. It's not horribly less, it's only 20 damage less, but that could easily be the difference between a kill and just an injury. So you want to be using this rifle between 100 and 150 meters, ideally. The other two sniper rifles, the Gewehr 98 and the Russian 1895, both have the same rise and fall pattern in their damage across the total range, but they peak sooner. The Russian 1895's max damage is from 60 to 100 meters, and the Gewehr 98 is from 80 to 125 meters, so their maximum damage is at closer ranges than the M1903, which is why I've chosen it for this super long-range class. So, long story short, the M1903 not only has the max damage at a longer range, but the maximum damage actually lasts slightly longer as well. It lasts 50 meters, where the other ones last 40 meters and 45 meters, I think. Now, I hope I haven't bored you too much, but it's very nice to know the exact specifics of how damage range works when it comes to sniper rifles. Now let's move on to the second reason this class is so awesome. This class has heavy defenses. The Incendiary Grenade and the Trip Bomb, high explosive version, work excellently to provide close range protection, generally sort of mitigating those oh shit panic situations when an enemy suddenly runs up behind you. But I'll discuss those sort of tactics in the tips section later. As with the previous Superclass videos, I chose this pistol based on its fire rate and handling speeds, which are faster than any other pistol, save the Calibri, which I still haven't unlocked. When it comes to the pistols, I always choose speed and control over sort of power, raw power, because it's much more user-friendly. And the final strength I'm going to list is that the Sniper Shield grants cover where there is none, or even if you do have cover, it just grants even more cover, which is, and the Sniper Shield is fundamental to this class, which I'll explain a bit later in the tips. Right now, I keep talking about tips. I love me a good tip. So let's move on to them tips. The first tip I've got for you is sort of quite fundamental, really. It's a big one. It's basically that this Railgun class is about taking your time. It's not about getting big scores, because you won't get giant scores. You're not going to come top of the scoreboard with this class. Keep it real. It's actually quite a selfish class, as you're not going to be going for objectives yourself. But if you've got a good aim, that doesn't mean you can't seriously help out teammates who are going for the objectives. And the second tip, I cannot stress this enough, spot everything. Seriously. As a long-range sniper who isn't going for objectives, it's your duty, above everyone else, to spot shit. Not only does this seriously help your team out, but if you're selfish like me, it can also get you quite a lot of points from spot assists. And you all know how annoying it is when your team doesn't spot anything. It can be really annoying, especially if you're in like tanks or planes. It's really annoying. So generally speaking, as a long-range sniper, you're in a better position than anybody to spot shit, so do it. Do it right now! Spot shit! Now the next tip is an obvious one, really. Avoid sort of engagement and close-range fights, close-range action. This class is about staying well away from the action and sort of raining hell upon your enemies from a distance, from a safe, comfortable distance. Now let's move on to defenses, and this shit is really important, so stay tuned. First of all, always set up your trip bomb behind you. Don't ever forget your trip bomb. If you've died and you spawn again, always set your trip bomb back up again. Try and set it up in the most obvious place you think an enemy might run at you from. Not only that, but try and place it where enemies aren't going to be able to obviously and easily see it. The tops of like stairs and ladders work really well. Or places where there's sort of general debris and shit on the floor, so the wire is a little bit hidden. Right, I've actually launched a game to help me demonstrate how to properly set up a trip bomb. A lot of you will already know, but not everyone does. I didn't know until recently how to properly set it up. So first things first, when you're placing a trip bomb, the wire that flies out of it is always in the opposite direction. So if I place it down here, the wire will go up There you go. It'll go opposite it. And you can pick it up. If you misplace it or it's a shit placement, just pick it up again and try it again. And the wire will always go away from you. There you go. Now, as you've just been seen, if there's no cover or walls around, it will literally place it almost flat on the ground. And that's actually one of the best things you want, because if you sort of just put it against like a tall wall, the wire sometimes goes quite high, and it's easy to see. So my advice is you actually place it sort of quite low, if you see what I mean. Like yeah. I mean, if you're coming up the stairs, if you know there's lots of action going on, it's actually quite hard to see. But that's the way it works. The wire always goes away from you. So if you do want to connect it to a wall or a bit of cover, literally point it at that wall, and it will always connect to where you're aiming. Do you see what I mean? The wire is a bit hit and miss. But as I say, you can figure all that shit out for yourselves. But that's how to properly place it. You want it flat, aim it at just flat ground. There you go. I mean, you don't need any more examples, but that's how it works. It always joins what you're facing. I don't like how high that is. But yeah, that's how to properly place it. Let's move on. Now on to the next tip, and this is about the Incendiary Grenade. Now, as I said at the beginning, it was a toss-up between the Impact Grenade and the Incendiary Grenade, but I chose the Fire one because I think you should use it to block enemy movement if an enemy is nearby. So I think you should use this grenade to literally stop an enemy getting close to you. Like if you know one's around the corner, like coming at you, throw it down. And if you happen to set him on fire, then great. That's like at least 30 to 40 damage done to him. And he has to go prone. If he's been hit by the fire, he has to go prone, making him a really easy target to finish off with your pistol. And if you know an enemy is coming, actively use your pistol, engage the enemy. Don't be sort of like, oh shit, there's someone coming at me. Switch to your pistol. First thing you want to do is switch to your pistol, then throw your grenade to where the enemy is or is about to come, and then basically finish them off with your pistol. And with this fast firing from a stock pistol, you know, you're going to do lots of damage quickly. Plus the damage from the grenade, plus the trip bomb if you set it off. I mean, you've got great defense options with this class. Right, now let's move on to the final tip. Now this final tip, I shouldn't have saved it for last really, but maybe I should have. It's monumental, this tip. Use the sniper shield. Try to use it at all times. This sniper shield is as vital to this class as chocolate chip muffins are to me. Pretty fucking vital. Right. Once again, I've launched the game to help me demonstrate this because it deserves a demonstration. Because most people use this sniper shield. If you do bother to use it, most people use it to go prone behind. And with a bipod, it's great. If you're sort of well out of the action, then it covers most of your body. I mean, people might still be able to see your legs if they're sort of off to the side. But most people aren't utilizing this shield that greatly. I mean, as I say, it's good for going prone behind. But quite simply, like if you're here, you've got your bipod out, you basically do this. Do that. Bosh! It's as simple as that. Most people don't know this, but you can do that. And then because it's the sniper version of the weapon, you've got the bipod as well. How much cover does that give you? And because it's the bipod out, there's no sway. It's absolutely accurate. Ooh, headshot. Anything else I can shoot? Isn't there a deer statue over there somewhere? Deer? No. Aye, but you've seen it. That's basically the secret to this shield. Don't just use it prone on the floor. And you can pick it up. Another piece of advice, pick it up. You can put it on any surface, and I advise, like I've just shown you there, that's actually the best case to use it. If you're up at a ledge, if you're like up on that walkway on this map, or just use your imagination. Any map where there's like a wall or a barrier, you can put the shield anywhere. I mean, it is such a severe strength. I rarely see snipers doing this, but just look at how much it means for a start. If you're just here, your typical sniper, you're crouching, you're looking over the wall, maybe you set your bipod up, everyone can see you, so you've got to keep going out of cover or you've got to keep displacing and moving position. But if you put and you can put it on an angles as well, so if you put it, you know, I mean, oh my god, it's a bit weird, the placement sometimes, but if you put that down, you don't have to crouch, you don't have to sort of keep hiding. You're safe. You are golden. So make sure you do that. It's such an underrated piece of equipment. I love it. I love this thing. So that's pretty much all I've got for this class. You've seen the strengths, you've seen the tips. Use that shield. Make sure you always don't forget to set up your trip bomb. That's a large part of your defense. And if someone does run at you, use your grenade and your pistol. I mean, you've got some solid defense there, and you are a dangerous motherfucker from long range. This class, if you utilize all these tips, this class can be seriously good fun. There is nothing more satisfying than getting like a 150 or 200 meter headshot with this weapon. I hope you try it out, and I hope you like it as much as I do. This is about long range, this is about damage, you are basically a ghost when using this. You will piss your enemies off something fucking rotten. I'm going to leave it there before this video overruns to like a 30-minute video. Like this video if you liked it, like this video if you didn't like it, and have fun trying to use this class. I know, before, in case you're wondering, I do know that I did previously say the next superclass video would have been with a shotgun or the medic class, but I love this class so much, I've been having so much fun with this, I had to put this in next. Now, the shotgun superclass that's coming up, I've already done an assault superclass, I've done a support one, and now I've done a scout one. I think it's only proper that the next one is medic, before I go to the shotgun superclass, which I've got stored up in my banks. The next one has to be medic to round out all the classes, so join me then. Oh. Helicopter tail, cat, helicopter tail, cat, helicopter